Hello and welcome to today's broadcast. Today we are going to be talking about sugar cravings and why it is we tend to crave sweets or sugar or just things in general. And I'm going to explain to you how it's really just a hormonal imbalance issue. And once we understand our hormones, we can easily get a handle on it. So, welcome if you're jumping on with us live or you're catching this on the rebroadcast. I appreciate you being here with us today. Happy Veterans Day to all of my fellow veterans out there as well. I know we have a large community of women and several veterans here who join us. So, happy Veterans Day to you. And if you haven't done so yet and you're joining us on YouTube, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. On Facebook, we have that little follow button. Make sure you're set up for notifications. So when we go live or upload this as a rebroadcast, you will get notified. This is our time to have a live coaching conversation, live or on the rebroadcast. So please take a second to hit me up in that comment section. Let me know you are here. Let me know how today's conversation is resonating with you. If you have an aha moment, I always love to get your guys' feedback. Okay, so let's get started. So, why we crave sweets? And it really is just a situation where our hunger hormones are out of balance. And what can we do to get those hormones back in balance? So, if you are a graduate of my intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course, we did an entire lesson on this in our hunger hormones lesson. If you're a current student, you just had this lesson yesterday. So hopefully this will just reinforce what you got in class. So the two hormones we are really wanting to focus on when it comes to cravings and the sensations of hunger are leptin and ghrelin. And remember, we in today's world, for most of us, we don't have a lack of opportunity to get food, right? So it's not that we are starving, where the true definition of starving is the inability to get nutrients for survival. We get the sensations of hunger, and they're two completely different things. And the hunger sensation is really an indication that things are out of balance, especially when we associate that in our brain with a craving, something we feel like we absolutely have to satisfy, or it's that always on our mind. It's like a mind driving kind of sensation. So, leptin is really the hormone that controls our appetite. And I think, did I leave a P off of that? I think I left the P off appetite. Yep, I did. Sorry about that. So, leptin controls our appetite with two P's, right? So, when it's low, when leptin levels are low, that's when we crave food, or our brain, it gets the signal that we need to have food, right? So it's just leptin telling our brain that we need to have food when this level is low. It also serves as our energy balancer, so it regulates uh knowing energy being food, right, or nutrition. So it is the balancing hormone also for food coming in, or energy sources coming in and energy sources going out as well. So it regulates that. It's our weight regulator, and it also is our fat storage hormone, right? So when this one is low, we're having lots of problems that a lot of us women are unhappy with, right? So we got to think about that there for a second. And then ghrelin, is the growling ghrelin. It's that sound and sensation we hear that oftentimes is very embarrassing in situations. That is an indication, again, our gut is just signaling our brain that it is empty and it needs some food, right? So it is a gut hormone. Its main function is to increase our appetite. So it is really high on an empty stomach, sending a signal to our brain saying we need to put some food in our stomach. And when you put food in your stomach, I'm going to quiet down and behave myself, right? So I like to think of ghrelin as kind of like an unruly toddler, and it's going to throw temper tantrums until it gets its way. And ghrelin is throwing a temper tantrum when it's growling and giving you those hunger sensations literally in your gut. And if you don't control and put some boundaries around ghrelin, it is going to run the show. But some good news is we can manipulate and control these two hormones to not only end the cravings, but to help with fat storage and weight regulation, even energy balance, right? So a lot of us here, If you're practicing intermittent fasting, it is one of the easiest ways to get your leptin up and your ghrelin down, right? So if you're a graduate of my intermittent fasting course, if you followed us here for a while, you know we love this little trick right here, right? Carbonated water, especially in the morning, or just water in general, takes up space in your gut. And when your gut feels full, then your brain gets the sensation that everything's okay and you can actually lower your ghrelin levels, right? So we want to keep these low. You can do that by manipulating or tricking your ghrelin, or what I like to say, calming the toddler and placing some boundaries in place, right? So starting your morning with carbonated water is a great way to control your ghrelin so that your gut is full and sends a signal to your brain that everything is okay. And that will also help regulate your leptin levels, right? It'll increase those leptin levels because your leptin's going to say, oh, we're all good. The ghrelin's under control. So we know everything's going to be okay. And it's just by tricking your gut into believing that there is food in it because you've just taken up space. That's why sparkling water is so fun to use, because those bubbles really do help the sensation, which regulates those hormone signals to your brain, right? Another great thing, and I'm just using this as an example because it's easy for me to cart around because it's in a can. I happen to like nitro cold brew coffee. I like to get it from a can, but any coffee will work. Coffee is another one of those appetite regulating type of tools that we use when we're practicing intermittent fasting, that really does help regulate the signals that are going to our brain. So when you crave sweets, all that is your brain receiving signals from hormones in your body, right? Telling you to eat because something is off, or telling you to eat something sweet because something is off. And when we get things back on, your brain stops receiving those signals. And so we don't have that constant mind struggle with what's wrong with me? Why am I craving this? I know this is bad for me. It goes against everything I'm trying to do. And then we end up in like this stressful situation and this endless cycle of weight gain, weight loss, because we think it's just food. And we don't really consider that it's our brain and our hormones just not speaking well to each other and almost speaking in conflict, like this negative feedback loop. And once we get that feedback loop balanced back out and talking positively, we can control these hormones and we can end these cravings, right? So, intermittent fasting is a great way to get these two hormones back in balance. And remember, balance is when leptin is high and ghrelin is low. They will balance each other out. Sleep is another big issue with our hunger hormones being out of balance and the sensation of hunger and or craving sweets, because if we're sleep deprived, if we're not getting the right kind of sleep, so we're not getting deep sleep, that REM restorative sleep, then again our hormones don't have an opportunity to reset themselves during our sleep cycle, and then we wake up feeling ravenous, right? And we think, oh my gosh, the first thing I need to do is go eat. Or we wake up with those sugar cravings, which is why so many women, especially because that's what we talk about here in our community, have a really hard time starting their day with black coffee. And we tend to go to our coffee as a means to disguise all the sweets that we're starting our day with, right? Again, this is this vicious cycle we can't get ourselves out of because we start our day satisfying the craving as opposed to controlling the craving. And there's nothing wrong with controlling the craving, right? So if you keep satisfying that craving first thing in the morning, then guess what? These two things are going to be flipped, right? Leptin's going to be low, ghrelin's going to be high. You're going to have that constant sensation like you need to eat, and that's going to be coupled with the sensation that you need something sweet, and that's because you're just feeding the problem, and then it becomes this like snowball effect, and then you feel like you're out of control with what you're doing with your food choices. So stress is another one of those hormones. The cortisol levels in our body also can lead to us craving things that aren't really a necessity. They're just a sensation. And our brain is the thing that's really controlling our decision making process. So we have to get control of our thoughts about this also. If you crave sugar and you don't give into it, nothing bad is going to happen to you. You're going to feel uncomfortable for a little while, especially if it's going against what you normally do, aka the sugar start to your morning with things in your coffee. And then after a while, those cravings start to change. And what then happens when leptin and ghrelin are balanced out, then your neuropeptides are also balanced out. And those are those signaling factors in your brain that when you look at food, you have that immediate reaction of whether that's something that brings you pleasure or something that's not going to bring you pleasure. And you can make more informed decisions. That's why a lot of people who practice intermittent fasting or just change their nutritional choices also see food and make their decisions in a completely different light that are often very shocking, right? When you look at like a cake or treats or something like that at a social event, it's almost a turnoff to you because your brain just doesn't want that because your hormones aren't sending the signal that that's something that's in need. And then your nutrition, like I just said, your nutritional choices will also help you control sugar cravings. The less sugar you have in your decision making process, sugar in all forms, I'm not talking about like table sugar in tablespoons. I'm talking about what happens chemically and hormonally in your body as you take in food, digest it, and process it also. Once you make better informed choices for yourself with nutrition, then those cravings also start to go away because sugar cravings are also associated with sugar addiction. Sugar addiction is a chemical and hormonal condition in your body. It is as powerful as alcohol and other drug addictions. So, as soon as we recognize that in our brain and we make the decision that that's not working for us, we can make more informed choices about our nutrition. Remember, all of these things can be uncomfortable, right, in the beginning. But we have to ask ourselves when our hormones are out of balance, when we're craving sugar, when we're sleep deprived, when we're stressed, when we're not making good nutritional choices, how is that working for us, right? How is that serving what we say that we really want? Are we constantly in this yo-yo cycle of gaining 30 pounds, losing 30 pounds, gaining 30 pounds, losing 30 pounds. And the gaining loss comes from not understanding how you have a power, have the power to control and balance out your own hormones by just listening to the signals your body is sending you. So when my stomach growls, and you guys know here, we do have a saying in our community called hungry is where the magic happens, right? So hunger is not in and of itself a bad thing. It's a sensation. And when you get the sensation of hunger, what do you do? And here, what I like to teach is we control that and we manipulate that hunger sensation in our fasting window because we're creating boundaries so we can control and balance these two things out. So when you feel hungry, go get yourself some water. Drink a big old glass of water with minerals in it. If you can, get some sparkling water. If it's early enough in the day, because I know here also, like for me, I can't have coffee too late, or I have so much energy that I just can't sleep well at night. And then we have this cycle of problems that we start to deal with. But if you can have coffee, have a cup of coffee, have a cup of black coffee. Black coffee is absolutely amazing. It has so many superpowers for us, especially when we're trying to incorporate something like intermittent fasting in regards to just the energy boost you're going to get, the polyphenols you'll get from it if you get a really good quality coffee, and you'll also get that natural appetite suppressant. So you're going to be able to control your leptin and your ghrelin. And then what happens over time is those cravings start to just go away because your brain is not going to get like signals that aren't really what it is that you want to do in your decision making process. It's going to get the signals, right, that you don't need to eat. You don't need to eat. You're going to get all the nutrition that you need in your feasting window, right? And then those cravings will start to subside. So if you're craving sweets, it's a hormone problem. There's nothing wrong with you. Just get your hormones back in balance. Once your hormones are back in balance, the cravings will go away and you will be able to make a less emotional right, decision about the food choices that you are making, and you'll make a more informed decision. And then I want to close out my part of the conversation today with this. If you crave something that is sweet, that's not necessarily a negative thing either, or a bad thing, or oh my gosh, I'm so out of balance, right? We do have that thing about us as just human beings that there's certain foods that we enjoy having. The problem with craving sweets or the problems with this imbalance is when you're not happy, right? So if your body is leptin resistant, right? So your leptin levels are low and they're firing improperly, and your body's hoarding a bunch of weight and it's hoarding a bunch of fat and you're feeling miserable, that's when we have a problem with the cravings, right? If you're happy as can be, you're happy with your body, you're happy with your sleep, you're happy with your health, you're happy with everything's going on, and you just love to have that piece of something after you have your dinner, and it's not making you feel like you're in an uphill battle with everything that's going on in your life because of food, then have the thing that's sweet. Having things that are sweet, or having that inclination to have sweet things, is not a negative thing unless it's causing you problems or causing you angst, or it's putting you in that cycle of weight loss, weight gain, weight loss, weight gain. And that's usually deprivation. And then going the opposite in extremes with food choices. So work on balancing out these two hormones and see how that serves you better. You will feel so much more in control. Your body will thank you, and you'll be able to really sit in a session of your ghrelin growling, and you'll be able to just quiet it down with the tools that you have, and you'll be able to go about your day, because as soon as you get this down, you get this up, and everything else is so much easier. Okay, so let's see who we have here today. Now's your time to ask questions, right? If you have any questions about this, if you're currently in my intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course, this was yesterday's lesson, just a little bit more detailed. If you're a graduate and you're like, oh yeah, now I remember what's going on, I'm going to go back to practicing this, let me know that as well. Danny, hello. I'll tell Michael you said hello. Also, 2018 grad, I need this topic so bad right now. Thanks, Diane, for your service and everything else you do for us. Yeah, you're welcome, girlfriend. We all need this reminder, right? Because we tend to get lax, right? When we get comfortable and everything's good, and then we're not as focused on the decisions we're making. We let our intermittent fasting slip a little bit. Maybe we're letting our sleep slip a little bit. This is the time of the year where stress is just something that is just more prevalent for a lot of us. And because of social obligations, especially during these holiday seasons, our nutrition can slip also. All of this is okay if you decide it's going to be okay, and then you jump back on the balance train when you feel like enough is enough, and you just get through this for a couple days, and you'll be back on track before you know it. Eloise, good morning. April 2000 or August 2020 grad, and soon to be November 2021 grad. So excited for you, girlfriend. You're going to be at the double grad. It all just clicked the second time around. Thank you for everything. You're both loved and appreciated. Thank you so much, girlfriend. Yes, there's something about the second time going through class that I think is super powerful. When we go through a lifestyle changing experience the first time, we have no experience to back up our decision. We almost go in like deer in the headlights kind of approach. Like, you do things with the hope of what the end result is going to be. When you go and then you get the results, and then we forget what we did oftentimes to go there, which is why hopefully you're using your journal in your guide. And then when we go through it the second time, it just reinforces and reaffirms in our brain the decisions that we made, the actions that we took, and the results that we got. So going through something that is a transformational type of experience or education, or whatever it is you want to call it, more than one time is always beneficial. I say go back 3 times. You guys now, my 2021 students who took advantage of it, you have a lifetime access to your course. Go back once a quarter and go through the lessons, even if it's just the first week on fasting, to remind yourself and excite your brain about all the amazing things that are going to happen to you if you find that you fell off track, for sure. Adeline, hello. Donna, hello. Tracy, good to have you with us. Lisa, good morning. So good to have you. Tilney, good morning. Growling now. Girlfriend, go get yourself some water. Have a nice cup of coffee. that will subside. And as soon as the growling subsides, then that signaling to your brain will be cut off. And that's where we get the mental clarity and the focus and the energized sense of calm. When our brain is not being sent signals that it has to manage that are completely unnecessary. You are not starving, you have a sensation. Quiet the sensation, you can go about your day for sure. Snee Hall, hello, good morning. Patsy, good morning and happy Veterans Day. Thank you so much. I appreciate that for sure. And happy Veterans Day to everyone else. Is black tea just as effective as black coffee? I don't drink coffee. Yeah, so anything that has like some caffeine in it, the good thing about a lot of teas. I don't know if black tea has it, but I know green tea has it. Is theanine, and theanine is another one of those great like energy appetite suppressant kind of things. It also does really great things for your brain. So yeah, just as long as it's pure in its makeup, meaning there's not a whole bunch of things on the ingredients list of your black tea, not a lot of preservatives and emulsifiers and all those kind of things. So straight black tea is actually great. Donna, I tend to crave sugar daily and usually have a dessert during my feeding window and wonder why my weight goes up and down. This makes so much sense. Yes, for sure. So it just means that these are out of balance, right? And when this is low, meaning you have like those uncontrollable urges for sweets, then that's when your body's in fat storage mode, right? So when this is high, then your body's not as inclined to store fat. You're going to be in that utilization aspect of what we like to be in hormonally. And so just put that in your mind, right? So, okay, if I'm craving sweets and I learn to control that, then my leptin levels are going to be balanced out. My ghrelin levels will be balanced out, and my body's not going to want to hoard and store away fat. It'll make it readily available to use as energy. That's where we want to be for sure. Sherry, I can now look at a tray of sweets and not be tempted more of an ick feeling. Yeah, because you've just controlled your brain, right? Your signaling to your brain is controlled and it's saying, no, that's not what I need. I need XYZ. When your brain is in addictive type of mode and your hormones are balanced out, right? Remember, we're just a bunch of animals, right? With hormones signaling things to our brain and then we react and respond to them. Um, then when you're in balance, right, you do look at things that aren't going to serve your body well, and it's a turnoff, right? And it's exciting when things are out of balance and you're in that like that mode, right, where everything's frantic. So congratulations, Sherry, super happy for you. And just know, right, that this ebbs and flows just like everything else. So these could slightly become out of balance, and if you catch yourself, you can get them back in balance. So hormones are not consistent. They're not a constant, right? They do this. And when one's out of balance, the other one tries to get out of balance as well. So look at how these are. They're opposite of each other, right? So if this one is out of balance because you're sneaking things in your coffee in the morning, this is where I really made the connection between a little bit of stevia in my coffee, right? Doesn't hurt anything, really caused me to be a sugar craver. Simple little decision to take stevia out of my coffee in the morning. This balanced out. I no longer craved sweeteners. So everything matters. You have to think about it. Use your mindset tricks, right? Think about, why do I have to have that? Why am I needing that stevia? Why do I need my coffee to be sweet? And if you can break that one little habit, does stevia break a fast? I don't know, but it made me crave sweets throughout the day, and it made me feel like preoccupied about being hungry. When I went straight black, all of that went away. My brain was cleared up to think of other things, and I started to really notice the effects of fasting. So every little thing matters for sure. Linda, good afternoon. Family from rainy London. Oh my gosh, girlfriend, it was raining here last night in Texas, and we had the worst thunderstorm. So hopefully you'll have a nice cozy evening there in London, and you can kind of just settle in with your family and be cozy. Thanks for being here with us today. Donna, have gastrointestinal issues when I fast. I don't, what kind of gastrointestinal issues when you fast or when you feast? Okay. So that is usually an indication that something you're doing in your feast is not working, right? This is how I really made the connection between um, dairy, gluten, soy, primarily, as when I fasted and emptied my gut out, like clean fasted, empty gut. My microbiomes were like resetting themselves. And then I opened up my feasting window. I really made sure that I feasted normally in the beginning, so I didn't make any great changes in my feasting. I ate like I normally ate, and it really sent clear signals to me about what wasn't working. So keep a food log when you're feasting. Make sure that you are keeping food groups pretty similar so you can narrow things down quickly and then just start eliminating things that you think could be a problem. Give yourself a couple of weeks to get it out of your system and then test the food out again. And that'll help you determine why it is you're having those issues when you're feasting for sure. Donna, I start with a organic with almond milk shake, then I start making dinner. When I've eaten, I then start having issues. Oh, okay. So, yeah, so I don't know, maybe it's something in your shake that you have that could be causing it, or maybe it's something in your almond milk. So make sure you're reading the ingredients in your almond milk too, and then really, really keep track of what it is you're doing in your feasting window. Tracy, makes sense. I started on Monday with IF. What kind of sparkling water is good? Can you have flavored? So this is the sparkling water that I drink. It's Mountain Valley. It's the best on the market according to all the tests that have been done. So it's the one that I like. No, you cannot have flavors, is what I teach, because that is again a signaling sensation to your brain that food is imminent, especially if you're leptin and insulin resistant. Everything is a signal to your brain. So if you have something with like a fruity kind of flavor, then your brain gets a sensation that something's coming in, because the flavor is what signals your hormones, and your body prepares for digestion. That starts the hunger process. So I always say no flavors if you're in a fasting window for sure. Carmen, October 2018 grad. I tuned in late. I will watch the replay. I have been struggling with sugar cravings like crazy lately. Girlfriend, just go back to what you learned in class. Sparkling water, black coffee, long fasts, clean eating in your feasting window. Within a week or two, you will be back on track for sure. Good morning, Gray Jimenez Gales. I hope I said that correctly. Donna, fasting ended at 9 a.m., but still fasting and still feeling good. Awesome. Carmen, eating cookies during my feasting window. Okay, so the thing about that, Carmen, and I'm glad you brought that up, but and again, is that thing that if there's nothing wrong with having cookies in your feasting window until it causes you problems, right? So if you feel like you're craving sweets, then cut them out for a little while, get yourself back in balance, and then you'll have that sensation of control again. So, having one cookie might be all you need, or having a half a cookie, or maybe going to something completely different, because there could be some things in that cookie that could be contributing to your cravings as well. So, since you've identified that as a problem, then you have to test it and then readdress it, and you'll be back before you know it for sure. Wish I could hear this. Oh no, what happened? Maybe check your computer. During the fasting, it's okay to consume an energized drink? No, not at all, because there's too many chemicals in that and too many other things. You want to stay straight, clean coffee or tea. An energy drink has way too many things in it. Donna, what are you going to do now that you are closing your classes down? So they're not closed down completely. We're just not offering a class in December, just because my family and we just need a break. So I don't, when a class is running, I'm in class and I'm on with you guys. And so I'm taking a break in December. I'm going to restructure everything for 2022, make some changes to the 2021 class. So it's a 2022 class, and then we'll relaunch it sometime in January. So it'll be back. It'll just be a little bit different. Tilney, I remember 2019 grad, stressful day and surgery yesterday, and while baking last night for a special gathering, I chose to try my favorite treat. I am now having to adjust my program today. Yeah, because you're going to get that need for more sweet. So it is that thing that, where our body just has those cravings, and we have to control them. And sugar is so addictive. We know that now. And so the more we give in to the craving, the more addictive type tendencies our body is going to have. So we have to cut them, or just recognize them and then just get off, right? Any detox from anything is going to feel uncomfortable, especially from sugar, because sugar just feels good. Like treats feel good. It's that reward mechanism that we have with our brain, and that dopamine rush and all the other things that happen when we treat ourselves. So you have to understand that the opposite of that happens initially. It doesn't feel good to break that addiction, but the reward that we get in the long term of us being happy and healthy and ending that gain loss cycle is what we're hoping for, right? So we have to look into the future for the reward that we really, really say that we want for ourselves. Such a challenging time with sugar right now. Okay, so Stacy, here's what I always say to those kind of statements. If you know it's challenging, you have to decide whether that's working for you or not working for you, right? And then you have to just put your feet down firmly and make a decision about how you want to get through this season. I don't eat other people's holiday traditions. I eat my holiday traditions, or I enjoy my holiday traditions. So if you're in an office workspace, or you're in a place where people are bringing in generously their crap for other people to eat, you just look at the people and you say, no, thank you. And you walk by and you tell yourself you want better things, right? It doesn't have to be a challenge. The challenge comes when we have a conflict in our brain between the decisions that we're making and the things that we say that we really want. That's challenging, right? Because we're going against our brain. So make sure that the decisions you are making coincide with the things that you say you really want in your own brain. So the challenge comes in the moment, right? And the reward comes with you pausing and asking yourself, how's this going to work for me? How am I going to feel next week? How am I going to feel when I wake up in the morning? How am I going to feel in January when I got to lose 15 pounds yet again? Look to the future and make your decisions based on where you want to go, not in the moment when you walk past someone's desk with a tray of Christmas cookies or whatever it is that's there. So stay present, stay conscious, pause and ask yourself the questions, and you'll take that challenge away for sure. Carmen, Diane, thank you so much for your passion to help us be our very best. You are welcome, girlfriend, and I appreciate you being here for sure. I always love when you can jump on with us. Shelly, how long does it take for the sugar craving to go away? I don't know. I always say that's a very personal thing. I am an all in, go for it, cold turkey type of person. So they tend to go away quickly for me. And I thrive in that environment. Like that's my personality. For other people, it's a challenge emotionally, mentally, physically, it's a challenge. So it all just depends on how quickly you're willing to get these back in balance, and how quickly you are going to stay in the conversation in your head about your decision making process. So it varies for everyone. It's very, very personality driven. I have a lot to learn, waiting for your next course. Yeah, it'll be in January. So just hang out with us here, because these are all little pieces of information that I teach in the course. And the course is just a little bit more in depth, and I give you more personalized approach to it. But yeah, just stay with us here, and I promise you, you'll get enough to really start understanding what's going on and cluing into your body. What happens when you jump into the class is you make the commitment to go all in, and I'm in your ear and in your head every day to remind you. So that's the benefit of the course, for sure. So happy to have you guys here today. It is the season where you're going to be tempted. You get to decide. How are you going to handle that? Is this going to be the season that you put your 2 feet down and you say, nope, this year is the year I'm going to do what I say I really want for myself, and I'm not going to let other people pressure me into their traditions or their habits or their misery a lot of times, right? So we all know that people are stressed out around this time, and we know that a lot of the stress comes from food. So let's just start changing the narrative on that, and just stand firm and say to yourself, I'm not going to do that this year. And then stick to your decision. If you stick to your decision that you're not going to let this year be the year that you go downhill with everybody else, and you're going to start January on the right foot with progress already being made, feeling like $1,000,000, empowered about the decisions that you made through November and December, then you're telling your brain that you have the ability to make better decisions for yourself, and your brain will thank you. And the way your brain thanks you is by receiving these signals in a better way. It is all a big cycle, right? Of your brain, of decisions, of cravings, of sensations, of challenges, of communication. It's all connected, right? And when you get that into a place in your life where you end the conflict, right? And you end the regret and you make an informed decision before you act on it, then the result that you get is going to be so much better. And I promise you, it is worth it. Sugar is addictive, so withdrawal will occur. Yes, it is probably, I've read studies and I've seen documentaries on sugar where sugar addiction and sugar withdrawal is as painful as narcotics, right? So we have to recognize that. And then we have to say to ourselves, why do we want that addiction? When we also know that there's so many health problems that are directly related to sugar. And it doesn't mean that you can't have treats. It doesn't mean that you can't celebrate. It doesn't mean that you can't ever have the things that you enjoy in life. It just means you have to put some boundaries around them so that what you say you really want is going to match up with the decisions that you're making. It is not that difficult. You have to do more work on your brain than anything else. And so many people go into lifestyle changes and intermittent fasting and dieting and all of those things, and we don't bring our brain, right? So bring your brain with you and start making decisions based on what it is you really want. Don't worry about anybody else. Tilney, thank you. Not this year. Not this year. We are not doing that this year. No, we are not. Jill, I love that you say it is just simple. I do not have to worry about anything until dinner. It works for me. Yes, it is so simple. We make it complicated, right? And I think a lot of times, again, this is just our brain playing tricks on us when we don't manage it well, is we tell ourselves, but it's hard for everyone, it's complicated, everyone. We don't want to be everyone, we want to be the best version of ourselves, right? Just when you're at some parties over the holiday season, listen to the conversations that are going on around social hour. Everyone is complaining about the weight they need to lose, how crappy they feel, how their doctor is telling them they need to do XYZ, all the prescriptions they're having to manage. It's horrible, right? Listen, tune into that, and then just decide that's not going to be the conversations that you're going to engage in. Like, you don't even understand what the problem is because you live a completely different way. There's no more fun than my husband and I have. My husband's actually going today for his annual physical. Like, we love going for our annual physical, because it's like our or even if you go to like a walk-in clinic, or like even my colonoscopy, they were saying like, so are you on this medication? No. Are you on this medication? No. Are you on this medication? No. Do you have this health problem? Do you have this? They were like, you're kind of boring. I'm like, thank you. I take that as a compliment. Like, you want to be boring when it comes to medical and health things, right? You want to be the person that's almost like you're giving your doctor nothing to do. That's the challenge I have for all of you. That's the challenge I have for myself. Like, I every year go to my annual physical and like, yeah, this is going to be a piece of cake for you. We got nothing going on. And that's really what we want to, that's what we want to do for sure. And we do that by just understanding these really basic things, right? Like, a sugar craving just means your hormones are out of balance. You get to decide to get them back in balance. And once they're in balance, everything is so much better. And then you get to imagine enjoying a sweet treat for what it is and not feeling like it's something you have to have and then suddenly regret. Like, what if you could really just enjoy it for what it is and then move about your life? Like, that is super freeing for sure. Jill, being in my 50s, no diet works. Diets have never worked, girlfriend. We just had age on our side, right? So diets have really never worked for us. It's just our hormones were in a different place. So we got tricked on that one. And then Wanda, is it healthy to drink tons of decaf coffee while fasting? I don't know what tons means to you, but if you're drinking coffee, you're not drinking water. And the most important thing that you could be putting in your body is water. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough water. Coffee, even decaf, is considered a diuretic. So you're not really doing yourself any favors. And it's decaf. So you're not really even getting the energy aspect out of it. So I would just maybe put some boundaries on that and then add some more water into your system for sure, because you'll benefit so much more from the water. Okay, I have got to roll. out of here. It was great having you guys here with me today. Great conversation. I want you to think about leptin and ghrelin. When you have your ghrelin growling, think about, I want you to pay attention to where your brain goes. Like, how do you feel? What do you think? What do you do next, right? And now you have some tools you can put in place. And I want you to tell yourself, hungry is where the magic happens, right? You get to control what happens when the hunger sensation occurs. And when your body is sending you the signal that it's hungry and you quiet it down and you get these things in control, then your body gets to work in a fasted state and it starts feasting on the things that you are not happy with. It is absolutely, absolutely amazing. Gray, you are super welcome. Is Gray your first name? Is that how you want to be uh, identified as? And let me know so I can call you the right thing. But you're super welcome. I hope you'll come back. Hope you've subscribed or followed me on Facebook. I'm going to go celebrate Veterans Day. I'm going to do my annual post today on Facebook and on Instagram. I'll post it in my community on YouTube too, so you guys can see it about my story with being in the military, and I'll share that with you guys as well. Okay, awesome, great. Thanks so much. I will see you guys on Monday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you have something you want me to talk about, something that maybe you're going through, you're struggling with, you're confused about, just send me an email or send me a private message, and I will make sure that we include it in the conversation anonymously, of course, unless you want to be part of the conversation. I always love having that as well. And if you want to join me on Instagram, every day I'm posting what I'm feasting on. Feasting is the thing that everyone says is so difficult for them. I show a snapshot and explain exactly it is what I'm feasting on in my feasting window, so you guys can get a little glimpse of that. And then I go live on Instagram at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time every Tuesday, where we do live coaching as well. Have a great weekend, you guys. Make sure you go hug a veteran, thank them for their service, do something patriotic today, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday.